Is very recent development on inflation. The Nigerian Bureau of Statistics recently released a data showing that Nigeria's headline inflation rate has eased to 21.88% just in July 2025, which is relative to the June 2025 rate of 22.22%. In the report by the June-July 2025 inflation rate, it indicated a significant decrease of 0.34% compared to the June 2025 headline inflation rate. Now, the fluid inflation rate in July 2025 was approximately 22.74% on a year-on-year basis, and this was 16.79% points lower compared to the rate recorded in July 2024. The Nigerian Bureau of Statistics disclosed that the decline in the annual food inflation figure is technically due to the change in the base year. The data also showed a month-on-month basis. The food inflation rate in July 2025 was 3.12%, down by 0.1% compared to June 2025. The NBS also attributed the decrease to average lower prices of vegetable oil, bean, white, rice local, maize, flour, guinea corn, wheat, and more others. Meanwhile, the headline rate on a year-on-year basis was 11.52%, which was lower than the rate recorded in July 2024. Meanwhile, on a month-on-month basis, the inflation rate in July 2025 was 1.99%, which was 0.31% higher than the rate recorded in June 2025. Onto security matters, no fewer than 25 members of the Islamic State of West Africa Province and the Jama'at al-Hissun have surrendered to Nigerian army troops in Bama, Borno State. A military source disclosed that the surrendered group comprised 12 adult males, 13 children from Zaumari, Gazuwa, and Alafa villages. They are currently undergoing profiling by the 21 Special Armored Brigade. According to the source, on August 11, troops of 233 Battalion, in conjunction with the Civilian Joint Task Force, led an ambush along the Sasawa-Kaburu axis in Damaturu local government area of Yobe State, killing one terrorist, recovering an AK-47 rifle. The same day, troops of the 1 Brigade Combat Team 5 in Zamfara State repelled a planned attack on the forward operating base in Galadish in Kafi local government area, neutralizing one terrorist and seizing a mobile phone. On the 12th of August, troops acting on basic intelligence from a rescued kidnapped victim stormed Gremasa Mountain in Shangan local government area of Kebbi State, arresting 8 suspected kidnappers. Meanwhile, in other related operations, troops of Operation Wild Stroke Sector 3 forward operating base in Wukari, Taraba State apprehended 2 suspected kidnap collaborators. The military source disclosed that 5 suspected pipeline vandals were also arrested by troops of Sector 4 Operation Safe Haven in Plateau State. Meanwhile, on the 13th of August, the troops of 34 Artillery Brigade launched an offensive on an IPOB ESM camp at Ndeji community, a border area between Anambra, Abia, and Imo State, respectively. Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress has rejected a Canadian court ruling that labeled it a terrorist organization. Reacting today, the APC National Director of Publicity, Bala Ibrahim, insists that the party is a duly registered political organization in Nigeria, operating strictly within the nation's constitutional framework. The ruling, delivered on June 17, 2025, also by Justice Fung Ungo of the Canadian court, arose from the case of Douglas Ereba, a former member of both the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressives Congress. Meanwhile, their arguments, after being redeemed inadmissible to Canada over links between Nigerian political parties and electoral misconduct. Ibrahim argued that the judgment ignored Nigeria's laws governing political parties. Meanwhile, the APC is registered in Nigeria, not Canada, and operates transparently within democratic system. Also, the APC disclosed it was meddlesome for a court abroad to define the political party in that manner. Meanwhile, a high court in Nasarawa State has ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC to grant access codes to the Julius Abure-Led Labour Party to uphold its candidates for the August 16 by-election and the Federal Capital Territory Council polls. Presiding over the matter, Justice Mustafa A. Ramat, in an interlocutory order delivered on July 23, 2025, directed INEC to accord exclusive recognition to Barrister Julius Abure and Alhaji Alhaji Umar Farouk Ibrahim as the authentic national chairman and national secretary of the Labour Party. The court also ordered the electoral body to allow the duo upload the names and particulars of their nominated candidates for the upcoming elections, pending the termination of the substantive suit. Despite the order, the Labour Party says INEC is yet to publish the names of its nominees for Saturday's by-election and the FCT Council election scheduled for early 2026. Reacting, Labour Party's National Publicity Secretary, Abure-Led, described the ruling as a welcome development that would correct what he called many wrongs against the party's authentic leadership. Abure-Led, a faction of the Labour Party, accused INEC of denying Labour Party candidates equal opportunity to campaign, citing similar incidents in past elections, and warned that the party would no longer tolerate such treatment. IFO urged candidates to remain focused and resilient, expressing confidence that Labour Party will emerge victorious despite the setbacks. The case has been adjourned to September 22, 2025 for hearing of the main suit. You're currently listening to the World News right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll take more news and head into a news analysis segment. To kindly stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. This is still the World News right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. While public interest lawyer Ayodele Ademuliyi has filed a lawsuit against the federal government and the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, the lawyer is seeking 500 billion naira in damages over what he described as a blatant breach of the rule of law in handling two aviation infractions, including popular musician King Wasiu Ayinde Marshal, also known as Kwam Wan, and Ibom Air passenger Comfort Emerson. While the suit lists as respondents the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Attorney General of the Federation, Minister of Aviation Festus Keyamo, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, Ibom Air, ValueJet, the Nigerian Correctional Service, King Wasiu Ayinde, the Nigerian Police Force, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, the State's Attorney General, and the airline operators of Nigeria. Ademuliyi, while addressing a press conference, stated that the action was necessary to enforce accountability and protect the public interest. The convener of the Movement for Justice and secretary of the Radical Gender Movement equally stated that the matter transcends the personalities involved and points to systemic decay in the aviation sector. The lawyer faulted the handling of the two incidents, alleging an imbalance in the treatment of both parties. He also alleged that the authorities failed to arrest, arraign, or prosecute King Wasiu, despite allegations against him, while Emerson faced immediate sanctions. According to him, the appointment of King Wasiu as a brand ambassador was inappropriate and undermined the integrity of the sector. For analysis segment, I actually have Barrister Fred Nzako joining us here via the telephone. Barrister Fred, good evening and thank you for joining us on the World News at 6. How are you, sir?
Very well. Good evening and good evening, Jack.
Thank you very much, Barrister Fred. Barrister Fred, let me start off with this recent report from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics telling us that there is a drop in inflation. A couple of economists and realists believe that that is just a record on paper, but does not reflect in the general economy, specifically for small-scale, medium businesses and retailers, and even we Nigerians who are consuming, who have to access the markets to buy certain products. They actually said for July 2025 that inflation rates showed a decrease of 0.34% compared to June 2025 headline inflation rate. The NBS asking him what was his survey method, and since then, the NBS seems to have been giving reports that seems to be economically pleasant, sort of. Do you find out from the NBS which
their leadership to ensure that they sometimes release information and statistics that tend to paint the government in a glorious images. But of course, that now becomes a case of images. But of course, that now becomes a case of one knowing the problem and then living in denial. And any government that does that is not good to be taken seriously by any one of them. And we keep saying that if the judiciary doesn't get it right, they will continue to bring confusion in the land because people will rely on the judiciary. And when that judiciary that is being looked upon to set the standard of goodness and the standard of integrity of the system, then where lies the rest of the... You can't say that the court order is illegitimate. But when the school interest has gone to, which of course will not be, INEC is supposed to operate as an impartial judge, as an impartial arbiter, the same way the courts are blinded. The lady justicia should be planted on INEC so that INEC should operate like the court, that is impartial and blind to any nuances or any selfish interest of any political party or political interest or any politician. But not INEC. Alas, INEC now operates either as a political party or in some cases in the face of all these issues.
All right, Barrister Sergei Lavrov. Kiev residents are actually skeptical of the summit. Now, basically, Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, if you recall, in 2022, with tens of thousands of soldiers killed on both parties. Well, it has actually proved incredibly hard for U.S. President Donald Trump to make any progress on the Ukraine war whatsoever. Bearing in mind, he sent his envoy Steve Witkoff to Moscow 5 times now. The only real thing that's come out of that is a few pretty low-level meetings in Istanbul between Ukrainians and the Russians, some prisoner swaps, but really very little progress. Typically, with sorts of summits, all kinds attended by both parties, all of the work has already been done. All the preparation and agreements have been ironed out. Usually, this would be a ceremonial moment for Trump and Russian president to meet together. But what is happening in Alaska is that the two countries are starting pretty much from a blank sheet of paper. Exactly what side is really trying to achieve, no idea, other than President Trump saying the killings between the Russians and the Ukrainians need to stop. And that's a wrap on the world news at 6 on Voice of the People.